There is one SpongeBob episode Nickelodeon quietly pretends doesn't exist. An episode so disturbing that fans demanded it be banned. Parents complained, and even Mr. Krabs' own voice actor said he hated recording it. It's the only time SpongeBob ever depicted a suicide attempt, and the only time Mr. Krabs stopped being greedy and becomes something much darker. This is the episode that broke the fandom, One Coarse Meal. And once you hear what actually happens, you'll understand why Nickelodeon barely airs it anymore. One Coarse Meal aired on March 25, 2010, as part of Season 7. To understand why this episode stands apart from every other controversial SpongeBob moment, you need to know what fans, critics, and online communities discovered. This wasn't just bad writing or an off-color joke. This was an episode where Mr. Krabs systematically tortures his business rival for over 2 weeks, drives him to attempt suicide, and faces absolutely no consequences for his actions. And the numbers help tell part of the story. With a rating of just 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb, it ranks as the second lowest rated SpongeBob episode ever produced. Animation critics like Phantom Strider and entertainment outlets like WatchMojo have repeatedly ranked it as the absolute worst episode of the series. Fans even started petitions on Change.org demanding Nickelodeon remove it from circulation entirely. But the most damning condemnation probably came from Clancy Brown himself, the veteran actor who has voiced Mr. Krabs since 1999. Brown reportedly stated he hated recording this episode, describing how the character had been written as a cruel and heartless monster rather than the flawed but ultimately good-natured Krab he'd spent years developing. But that was nothing compared to what Nickelodeon let air next. The episode opens with typical SpongeBob chaos. Plankton launches yet another attack on the Krusty Krab, using explosives and a hang glider in his endless quest to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. Mr. Krabs fights back, even using SpongeBob as a human weapon. During the scuffle, SpongeBob accidentally reveals a crucial piece of information.
Okay, but I don't know how to get into the safe behind the painting in Mr. Krabs' office that houses the secret formula. He won't let me near it!
The formula is hidden in a safe behind a painting in Mr. Krabs' office. But then Pearl, Mr. Krabs' teenage whale daughter, walks into the kitchen. Plankton's reaction is immediate and terrifying. He screams in pure panic and flees into the freezer before escaping the restaurant entirely. This scene reveals Plankton's cetophobia, an extreme and debilitating fear of whales. The episode provides a flashback showing the traumatic origin. Plankton's ancestors, including his granddad, were having a peaceful picnic when a whale suddenly surfaced and swallowed them whole. This wasn't played for laughs in the flashback. No, it was presented as genuine generational trauma that has haunted Plankton his entire life. And what was Mr. Krabs' reaction to all of this? His eyes lit up with what can only be described as malicious glee. He hasn't just discovered a weakness, he found the perfect weapon to destroy his rival psychologically. And here's the moment that everything goes off the rails. The point where Mr. Krabs stops being funny and starts being dangerous. The episode takes a disturbing turn that reveals just how far this version of Mr. Krabs really is. He pays Pearl with what he calls mall money to help him terrorize Plankton. When SpongeBob asks about being paid, we learn that Mr. Krabs doesn't even pay his loyal employee in real currency, just worthly wacky bucks he prints himself. Even the exploitation of his staff gets darker in this episode. What follows isn't a one-time prank or a momentary lapse in judgment. It's sustained psychological warfare that lasts more than 2 weeks. Mr. Krabs disguises himself as Pearl, wearing her clothing and perfecting her voice. Then he begins stalking Plankton everywhere. He jumps out of dumpsters, screaming about being hungry and wanting plankton meat. He appears outside windows, watching Plankton's every move. The episode explicitly tells us this continues for 16 paranoia-filled days. This isn't some spontaneous cruelty or a random prank gone wrong. It is calculated, methodical torture designed to break someone psychologically. And if you think this is just cartoon slapstick, buckle up. This next part shocked even longtime fans. When we next see Plankton, he's completely unrecognizable. He's developed a Howard Hughes-like appearance. Long, unkempt gray hair and beard, overgrown fingernails, and tissue boxes on his feet as makeshift shoes. He's cowering in darkness, terrified to step into the light for fear that the whale might see him. Karen, his computer wife, tries to bring him dinner, but Plankton can barely function. He whimpers that he can't risk coming to get it, that the light might expose him. He's crying, and it's not the exaggerated cartoon crying we typically see in SpongeBob, but genuine sobs of someone who's been broken.
Be tortured for the rest of my life by that whale.
And outside the window, Mr. Krabs is watching all of this unfold, and he's laughing. The next scene is so infamous that many fans refuse to rewatch it. Plankton's deteriorating mental state would eventually manifest itself in a nightmare sequence that represents the visual low point of the episode. He's being chased by Pearl, falls into her blowhole, and lands in her mouth. She flings him down her throat with her tongue, and he plunges into her stomach. There, floating in gastric acid, he finds his ancestors, including Granddad, who cheerfully greets him. Plankton looks down to discover his own body is half melted and burning in the stomach acid. Pearl's laughter echoes with thunder and lightning as Plankton screams in agony. He wakes up screaming that he can't take it anymore, and what he does next is something SpongeBob has never shown before, and hasn't shown since. Quick heads up, this section deals directly with suicidal themes. What happens next is unprecedented in SpongeBob history and extremely rare for any children's animated series. Plankton, sobbing and completely broken, lies down in the middle of the road. When SpongeBob finds him and asks what he's doing, Plankton's response is chillingly explicit. He states that there's no point in going on, that he'll just be tortured for the rest of his life. He says he's done. Then he mentions that the 4:15 bus should be along anytime soon. SpongeBob, still not fully grasping what's happening, asks if Plankton needs help. Plankton's response removes any ambiguity. He tells SpongeBob to go away, then asks if SpongeBob would step on him as hard as he can. When SpongeBob refuses, saying it would go against his good nature, Plankton simply says he'll wait for the next bus. This is not coded language or subtle implication. This is an explicit depiction of a suicide attempt in a children's cartoon. Plankton has stated his intent and method. He's waiting for a vehicle to run him over. He's asked another character to kill him. The only reason it doesn't happen is because SpongeBob intervenes. And what makes it worse is that the show treats all of this like a punchline. But the most unsettling part isn't what happens to Plankton. It's what doesn't happen to Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob rushes back to tell Mr. Krabs what's happening. Perhaps the audience thinks this will be the moment of realization, when Mr. Krabs understands he's gone too far and feels remorse. Instead, when SpongeBob informs him that Plankton is lying in the street, forlorn and broken, Mr. Krabs gasps in what seems like concern. Then he laughs.
Miss!
Mr. Krabs,
Not a nervous laugh or an uncomfortable chuckle, but a full, sadistic laugh at the suffering he's caused. Earlier in the episode, we see Mr. Krabs erasing a drawing that shows him saying goodbye to Plankton, making it clear he actively wants his rival dead. When SpongeBob suggests things have gone too far, Mr. Krabs shows absolutely zero remorse. This is the moment that even Clancy Brown couldn't stomach. This is where Mr. Krabs stops being a flawed character with redeeming qualities and becomes something genuinely monstrous. The episode's conclusion provides no satisfying resolution or moral lesson. SpongeBob reveals the truth to Plankton that the whale was actually Mr. Krabs in disguise. He also mentions that Mr. Krabs has a fear of his own, mimes. Plankton attempts to get revenge by hiring a mime to scare Mr. Krabs. There's a brief karmic justice as Krabs experiences a fraction of the terror he inflicted. But then SpongeBob, our moral compass character, betrays Plankton at the last moment by telling him a hungry pod of whales has arrived. These turn out to be holograms, and Plankton flees in terror once again. Mr. Krabs is freed from the mime. He faces no real consequences for driving someone to attempt suicide. He doesn't apologize, he doesn't learn anything, and doesn't change. The episode ends with the torturer victorious and the victim still traumatized. So, why does this episode, out of hundreds, feel so wrong for so many people? It's not just that it's dark, it's the kind of dark it chooses to be. Several factors combine to make One Course Meal uniquely disturbing among SpongeBob episodes and children's animation in general. First, Mr. Krabs acts with active malice rather than greed. In most controversial Krabs episodes, his terrible behavior stems from his obsession with money. But here, profit isn't the motivation, it's pure sadism. He's not even trying to steal Plankton's customers or eliminate business competition. He's simply enjoying the act of torture itself. Second, this isn't momentary cruelty, but sustained psychological warfare. 16 days of deliberate, calculated torment designed to break someone mentally. This crosses the line from cartoon villainy into realistic psychological abuse. Third, the suicide depiction is explicit and unambiguous. Other cartoons have featured dark moments, but few have shown a character lying down, waiting for a vehicle to kill them while explicitly stating their suicidal intent. This goes far beyond what's appropriate for a show's target audience. Fourth, Mr. Krabs deliberately exploits trauma and PTSD. He discovers Plankton's phobia, rooted in the death of family members, and weaponizes it. This isn't discovering someone's afraid of the dark and hiding in shadows. This is reopening generational trauma for entertainment. Fifth, there are zero consequences. In a show that typically teaches moral lessons, Mr. Krabs faces no punishment, feels no remorse, and learns nothing. The episode essentially endorses his behavior by letting him win. Sixth, SpongeBob's character is assassinated. Our protagonist, known for his kindness and moral goodness, actively helps torment Plankton at the end and shows minimal concern for someone attempting suicide. And finally, adding an additional layer of darkness, this episode was co-written by Doug Lawrence, the voice actor for Plankton himself. Imagine voicing a character for over a decade, then being asked to write and perform that character's suicide attempt. The psychological toll on the creative team must have been significant. Since its airing, One Course Meal has rarely appeared in reruns. While Nickelodeon has never officially banned it, the network seems to have quietly acknowledged its toxicity by keeping it out of regular rotation. It doesn't appear in best-of compilations or promotional materials. The episode became a rallying point for fans concerned about the declining quality of SpongeBob's post-movie seasons. It represents everything that went wrong: the flanderization of characters, loss of the original show's heart, and a willingness to pursue dark humor without understanding what made the early seasons work. One Course Meal stands as a cautionary tale about what happens when a beloved character is pushed too far beyond their established boundaries. Mr. Krabs has always been greedy and occasionally selfish, but those flaws were often balanced by a genuine love for his daughter, loyalty to his restaurant, and moments of surprising generosity and wisdom. In 11 minutes, this episode stripped away all of that nuance and replaced it with a character who tortures someone for entertainment, drives them to attempt suicide, and laughs about it. And here's the most disturbing part. If you go back and watch the earlier seasons, Mr. Krabs has always been this selfish. One Course Meal didn't break his character. It just stopped pretending he was funny. And to this day, Nickelodeon has never explained why they approved this episode, or how it made it past the storyboard stage. So here's the real question. Was this just a writing misfire, or did SpongeBob accidentally reveal something much darker about Mr. Krabs that was always lurking beneath the surface? Let me know which side you're on. 25 years of SpongeBob SquarePants have given us countless memorable moments, valuable lessons, and genuine entertainment for multiple generations. But buried in that legacy is this one episode, a stark reminder that not every creative decision succeeds, and sometimes the darkest moments come from taking familiar characters to places they should never go.